If I do this kind of very high risk surgery one more time, I will be suspended. 100% that he's gonna die.
Adam Szafranek, a dedicated heart surgeon, loving husband, and devoted father. With skilled hands and a compassionate heart, Adam saves lives in the operating theatre and cherishes every moment with his family outside of it. Get ready to hear his inspiring story on To the Heart of It. How does it feel when they don't survive?
Oh, no, it's the worst feeling in the world. For me, surgeon is a failure of the fight.
I can imagine people are thinking about the police knocking on the door to tell their loved ones that someone's passed away. How do you process that?
You should ask my wife, the family.
Tell me about some of the worst reactions you've had from family members.
The people are suffering. I was more scary when I really have to. It's an awful feeling. I would say that this is the worst reaction I had.
I think if I had chest pain right now, apart from you're a doctor, I would be shitting myself if I dropped onto the floor with pain down my arm.
If somebody will tell you need a cardiac surgery, don't be afraid, because the results are great. The risk is really small. And if you feel unwell, we will help you and you will be better.
Would you go back and do it all again?
I would like to be.
I'm Ben Edwards, and you're listening to The Heart of It. A few years ago, life humbled me and made me take a long, hard look at my choices. One day, you're going to hear a lot of things about me. Some of those things I can't talk about right now, but I had to make a lot of changes. I lived a life fueled by shame, and shame cannot survive being spoken about. It needs these three things to survive: secrecy, silence, and judgment. So I made the decision to start talking about these things, and I'd like to invite you to listen to how that played out. This is the therapy that I never thought that I needed. Let's get to the heart of it. Adam Szafranek.
Yes.
Welcome to the heart of it.
Nice to see you.
Finally here?
Yeah, finally, yes. It's 2 months, 3 months, or something like this.
It was, yeah. The notes I've got here. The first time I gave you the invite,
Yes.
you were surprised
Yes.
that you had been given an invite to come on this.
Yes, I was. But, it was very nice and I'm thrilled and, I'm very happy to be here.
Why were you surprised? What about the invitation made you surprised?
Why I was surprised? No, I don't know. I just was, like you told me that you start this and I also thought that, I don't know if I will have anything interesting to say. And you said to me, yeah, come on. So you convinced me,
Yeah. Everybody I've told that you're coming on here is super excited.
Mhm.
With what you think, what you do for a living, which we'll talk about in just a second, is just what you do.
Yes.
You're a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
Like for you, that's just your job.
Yes.
Day to day.
Yes.
But for other people, even me, when I came to the hospital,
Yeah.
that's like you're a superhero. Every day you save lives and you just think that's normal. And the more the more I've spoken to you, the more I realize how humble you are. But it's quite a big deal what you do.
I mean, for the patient, of course it is. When they are suffer and they have to come and have a surgery, it is a big deal. But yes, I agree. I agree. But I wouldn't treat it as something, wow. From my perspective, I'm there to serve. This is the medical job, to serve, and I'm trying to do this.
Do you always want to be a surgeon?
I would say I wanted to be a doctor, and then it's more become clear that I want to be a surgeon. Cardiac surgery was a little bit of accident because there was empty slot in the rotation, so I went and I like it. And
so how does that work? Like you're not from England. You're from Poland.
No, I finished my my medical university in Poland, and I did my a basic rotation first year, including cardiac surgery. Because, like I said, there was this place. And then I get a job in the cardiac surgery. I work for 1 year as a junior doctor. And I get the fellowship from Royal College to come to UK to learn something. And I came to Leicester, and this is how all it started. Then I went after Leicester doing junior doctor job, I get a registrar job in Cardiff, in Wales. Then I did some training, advanced training in Belgium. Then finally London. I work in Brompton. And then I get a job in Nottingham more than 10 years ago. as
So
a
how does that
consultant.
work? How does that work? You went to, you did medical school in Poland.
Mhm.
A position opened up on rotation for cardiac.
No, basic. Like this is called these days foundation year. So you do a little bit of specialty from every different part of medicine, and this gives you full registration after finishing this.
Mhm.
And then you're choosing your specialty that you're applying for the training number. Let's say like this.
Yeah. Is that the number that puts you on the trust pilot for surgeons?
Yes, yes, yes. So in UK now is something called foundation years. So you just have to do it to have a full license, and then after this, you're looking for this NTN, which is a national training number. And if you want to be, let's say, cardiac surgeon, you're applying for it. There's a national selection, quite competitive, very competitive. I don't remember now the numbers, but we're talking about the tens of people per one place. And if you've got it, then you've got the 7 years or 8 years, depends, to do your training. And after this, you have to pass the exam, and then you can apply for the consultant job. So altogether, it's 10 years, more or less.
So you've got 3-4 years at medical school?
No, 6.
6 years at medical
Yeah.
school. Then you apply for the NTN.
So altogether, you're talking about the 18 years since you started university to 20 years.
Before you're a signed off surgeon.
Yeah, you become a consultant if you are very good after 30, towards 40. So it's a long time of
And
training.
is that the same for doctors, GPs?
No, the different specialties got a different time. Some people need a training for 3 years, and they can become independent practitioners. In surgery is a little bit longer, and even when you finish and you become a consultant, you are usually, as a junior surgeon, supervised or mentored for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Generally speaking, 1 year is obligatory now these days.
Mhm. So when you say if you're really good, what does that mean? Your surgery skills are better?
If a lot of people don't know what they want to do when they finish university. I want to be a surgeon, but there's plenty of different surgeries to choose from. So if you are really focused, and I want to be a cardiac surgeon, you will dedicate your university time to collect all the necessary skills and the factors that they will determine your successful outcome on the national selection for the NTN. But if you don't know how I want to be a surgeon, you're doing this 2 years of it's called core surgical training. So you just do a lot of surgery, different type of the surgeries, a little bit of them, 6 months here, 6 months there. And then on the end, you finding the one that you want to go. So these people will, of course, this takes a little bit longer.
Mhm. So what kind of things, like for me who has no idea of the medical world,
Mhm.
what are the kind of things that if I knew I wanted to be a surgeon and I knew I wanted to be a cardiac surgeon, I would be doing or learning about if I was if I knew that was my path?
There is a special kind of like a pathway to do this, and there is a matrix which just determine what you have to have. So, for example, if you want to be a cardiac surgeon, it's good to have attachments when you are at university, at least for 4 weeks with the cardiac surgery during a holiday. So you stop from going to Bali or wherever you want to go on holiday, and you're spending the whole summer in the hospital. And this needs to be exactly more than 4 weeks. If it's less than 4 weeks, you've got the less points. Publications. So when you are the student, you just concentrate on the publications or or participate in some university project that give you a publication, and this will count for your national selection points. There's quite a lot of things that you can do if you know what you want to do.
Mhm.
If you leave it for the last moment, your chances that you will get there are small.
Mhm.
But this is a new thing, and this is like the last 5 years or a little bit more than 5 years. So the people are actually now know how to prepare for this, and they're doing this quite early if they know what they want to do.
Did you always know you wanted to be a cardiac surgeon?
No. Like I said, it's really crystallized to me when I finish my foundation time that I want to be a cardiac surgeon. I like it. It's a fantastic specialty, and I took it from there. These days was slightly different. The training was talking years ago. So I was SHO, this is like all senior house officer, then the registrar, and then after registrar passing exam, specialist register by GMC. So you are able to apply for the consultant job. I did some additional training in Belgium to learn something specific to be attractive on the market. And there was a need for somebody like this in Nottingham, and I get my job here.
And how long ago was that?
How long ago? It was 2012.
And you've just got a new job.
Yes, I got a new job. It's a part of the normal process as a consultant that you just, you first you establish your practice as a surgeon, be safe. You treat people, then you develop your interest, which always was the mitral surgery in my case, specific valve in the heart. But then when you are reached the level that where I am, getting old, so you and you've got experience, that you're moving a little bit to the managerial part of the job, which is a part of our job description for the consultant. Not only operating, but you're also doing this kind of
management, leadership.
Yes. But you have to have the skills and when you are in theater, so the leadership and how to manage theater, how to manage people, how to work together. This is really important because a lone person, a single person is not able to do this job. I know how to do the operation, but then the patient is on intensive care, then the patient is on the ward. There are other doctors, junior doctors, nurses. Every single person that I work with is important. And without them and working together nicely, it's impossible.
Yeah, so I came for a tour. You invited me for a tour.
Yeah.
And it was quite a surreal experience for me. Because a hospital, when normal people go to hospital, is not a common thing. There would be an issue with a relative or you'd be going for something that's not really fun. I had this sense of this is real.
Yes, no, of course. Yeah, it is real. Yeah.
And then meeting the team, and bypass.
Yes, so you've seen how the bypass machine looks like. Yes. Yeah, no, this is the technology that we use for the years now, but it's amazing stuff.
They will show a picture of the bypass machine that I took.
Yeah.
Because this is an amazing piece of kit.
Yes, it is. And actually, development of this machine was not without. Well, we're talking about the 50s, 60s, when because it was developed when there's a very at these days almost like trivial disease. There's a hole in the heart in the children's heart, and if you don't fix it, unfortunately, children dying 7, 8 years old. But if you fix the hole, they've got an absolutely normal life. And the surgeons these days didn't have possibility. They were doing really, we would say now, crazy things like connecting circulation of the child with the parents, and this is something that you wouldn't do these days. But there was one American guy. He developed this machine that was able to take out CO2 from the blood, like we're breathing, and put oxygen. And they used this successfully on a couple of children. And they realized that they can actually save their lives. And now this is like a routine. And, preparation for the bypass time in 60s was 1 week to do one operation. Now, like the perfusionist who you met told you that he needs 3 minutes and the machine is ready. So we can put the patient on bypass in 3 minutes. So we can stop his heart and lungs and fix whatever needs to be fixed.
So tell me, I've heard the term bypass before I came, but tell me what a bypass actually means.
So there are like two things we're talking about the bypass. One is you will have a bypass. Somebody will tell you, well, not you, but the patient, which means that what we're gonna do, we're gonna bypass your coronary arteries in your heart to make the blood flow again. But another thing that we use the word term bypass is we call the machine bypass, because this machine is able to bypass your heart and the lungs and replace the function of the heart and the lung for some time, couple of hours. And this allows us to stop the lungs, stop the heart, fix whatever needs to be fixed, and then restart it and disconnect patient from the bypass machine. And they're going home.
So the bypass machine's acting as a heart and lungs.
Yes, together.
And also, was there the bladder? Was there the bladder? Because your colleague mentioned about the separate pump that was down there. Because you talked about cooling the blood.
Yes.
Down to, was it 18 degrees?
So there is a specific operation that we do for the specific disease called dissection, aortic dissection. When your the biggest pipe in your body called aorta. It's starting from the heart and going all around to supply the blood to every organ, limbs, head, rupture. And what we can do, we can take the patient like this who is almost 100% that he's gonna die, and cool his body to the 18 degree, stopped everything, stopped even bypass machine. And for 30 minutes, you've got a time to fix this vessel and then rewarm the patient, and they're going home. Sometimes, in some occasions, it is used if you find somebody in the hypothermia, this similar thing. You just connect to the bypass machine and you rewarm the body. But this is something that this is very rare here. It's just anecdotal. But what we use this technique is for the repair of these big vessels. So it is amazing because for the 30 minutes, patient is without blood at all in his body. And then it's refilled and they're going home. So it's good.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the skills that you guys have, the explanation of the machine, what's possible. Because for me, watching TV, someone's putting someone on a bypass, you don't really know what's happening. And also, I'm sure TV is not realistic. I used to be a firefighter, and watching fire shows are not realistic at all.
No, some of these programs are, but to be honest with you, I don't know. I remember this being like a junior doctor on call, and after being all weekend on call, I came home and make myself breakfast before I go to bed and open start TV, and there was a ER, the American series with George Clooney. And actually, after 2 minutes, I couldn't watch it anymore because I had enough. So since this moment, I don't watch any programs like this. It's just not something that I want. When I finish home, I prefer to watch, I don't know.
Anything else?
Anything else, yes. Not David Attenborough.
So tell me about the process, because when I first came to the hospital, you showed me some scans. You showed me how you diagnose what's happened. So someone's reported chest pain, gone into hospital or gone to the doctors.
Yeah.
They've been sent for tests by a cardiologist.
Yeah, so usually if you feel unwell and you've got some problem that you suspect it could be heart, and you're always going to your GP. And the GP will, deal with it. And if you need to, you will be referred to the cardiologist. And then the cardiologist do the more investigation, looking deeper. And if they found that the only way of treatment to make you better will be surgery, they will refer you to us. And I showed you these random pictures that we use for the teaching, and you've seen how the coronaries looks like, and this is how we assess the patient, and then we say, okay, fine, we can do this and this and this. And you had the opportunity to work on this model, how to repair the valve, and you were actually very good, with the putting the sutures. And this model, we use this to train ourselves before you start doing this on the humans, to just get better and better and better. And usually when you are, like we talk, trainee, you can sit and home, practice until your moves are there, and you can. It's the same like with the video game. Yes.
Yeah. So I found it. You literally could. I know there's training slides, but you could see immediately the valve. The way I described it to people when I explain this, correct me if I'm wrong, is you can see an orange, like a heat map, an orange-red color.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it goes blue. And you were saying to me, that's where the blood is not coming, is going back. And then the valve allows the blood to go, the bub, and that's where the valve should close. And that's where the blood, it wasn't closing. And therefore they've had a leak of blood around the heart.
Yeah, so this test is called echocardiogram, and this is like a very basic test. Of course, there are like levels of how basic it can be, but we can really now these days with the 3D technology, and this has really progressed dramatically in the last 10 years. Like your studio here, that you've got all of these cameras and everything. So the same is there. The software is amazing. It's going to recreate the 3D images from this ultrasound, and we can see exactly how the wave of this, we call it regurgitation, so the flow back through the valve, which shouldn't happen, is. And this allows us to say, okay, fine, we can repair this valve, or we can replace the valve. I don't know if I show you the artificial valve. So this is the replacement, but for the some people, we are able to repair the valve, and this is usually the best what we can offer them.
And then, I had a go at putting a valve.
Yeah.
There's like a machine, which I'll show on the clip. I'll show a video. And I said to you, film me. And you were like, well, have a go first. And then the phone was there and I did it. And then the first go, I put it in and you picked up the phone immediately and were like, I'll film it. I can't believe
because
it.
I didn't expect, because, this is for the minimal invasive. So it's very deep and you've got a very small hole that you are operating through. And the most difficult part of this surgery is that you have to, similarly like on the computer games, that you look at the screen and you see what you're doing and you have to manipulate. And you were very good. You straight away put the right in the place that it should be. So I didn't expect this. Sorry for not trusting your skills, but they were very, very good. And you spot on, So, but again, saying that, the cardiac surgery and a lot of surgeries is not only about the skills in theater. It's a whole everything together. So, how you qualify the patient for the surgery, because the patient's coming with the risk factors. You have to really assess this, and then of course you do the stitching. Everything is fine, but then after, how you treat them, you have to understand the hemodynamics of the heart, how the blood is flowing. The patient can have a more fluid, less fluid. This is where the complicated bit is starting. And sometimes the most difficult, I think in my opinion, the most difficult part is actually to go and say, okay, this patient will benefit from the surgery, or, well, we cannot do anything and we will not be able to help you.
Yeah, you told me before we were talking about that exact thing, qualifying a patient for the surgery. You said often now with experience, the ones that are routine and the ones that are not. And then you said it's quite sometimes a grey area whether it's a good idea to do the surgery or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is really difficult. And so, yes, you've got the patients that it's very simple. There's a problem, you fix it. The risk of the operation is very small. And if we're talking about a cardiac surgery, because some people can think, oh my God, the risk that something will go wrong is less than 1%. So we're talking about a 99.5% success in general of the cardiac surgery. So bypass, valve replacement, valve repair, the risk is less than 1%. Then there is a group of the patient that this risk is very high, and you really have to ask yourself, am I gonna make these people any better? Or I'm just taking them to the operation which will not make them better, actually. It increase the suffering. So this is where the difficulty is. And you don't have a clear algorithm to actually do this. You've got you can say, well, the risk is this, but you look at the patient who is, I don't know, cahectic, very, very old. And then you're just asking yourself, okay, I will do this operation. The patient will spend 6 months on intensive care, and what is the benefit when he's 89? Yeah. So this is where the difficulty coming.
So you've got the diagnostic phase where you've got the scans, then you've got the selection, qualifying them.
Yeah.
Then you've got preparing or giving the patient the options, I assume. And then you are a normal guy, right? You have a normal life, you have children, a family, and other people go to work in the morning, go to an office or go and do their job. When you're driving to the hospital, when you've got a surgery day, what's going through your head? You've taken the kids to school, you've got surgery. How do you prepare for that? Hi, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. 2 things. These conversations are sometimes quite long, so we split them into 2 parts. To get access to part 2, plus all the behind the scenes and never before seen footage and exclusive material before anybody else, hit the subscribe button now and download your free VIP studio pass into your mobile wallet. To do that, go to theheartofitpodcast.com/pass. Second thing, as you can see, I'm in a purpose-built studio. I'm a coach and I'm recording a podcast to grow our audience, reach new people, all whilst building trust and authority in our niche. This studio is owned by a 7-figure coach, a company that I'm partnered with who help other coaches to grow and scale their coaching businesses online. If you're a coach, author, speaker, or expert in your field, and you'd like to see how the performance of this podcast translates into business revenue, as well as how much we make from the YouTube monetization and podcast sponsorship deals, just like this one, download the Podcast to Profit Guide, which you can do at theheartofitpodcast.com/podcast profit. Now, back to the episode. When you're driving to the hospital, when you've got a surgery day, what's going through your head? You've taken the kids to school, you've got surgery. How do you prepare for that?
Well, this is very difficult to take this out of your mind, and be absolutely, I'm just with the time you learn the things that, when I'm coming home and the children are there, and so I'm able to some extent relax. But like you've seen me, my phone is here on the floor, and there's never 100% time off, even if I'm on holiday.
Mhm.
My phone is on because I know my patient. And what is with cardiac surgery, if you know the patient, you are, even if you're very far, you will not make a medical decision because you don't see the patient, but you can be there to advise.
Mhm.
So yes, it's very difficult to forget. You trying with, I think, with the time, you learning these skills to be able to separate yourself from work, but it's difficult. And if I go to the theater, the day, sometimes when I wake up 6 o'clock, I'm thinking from 6 o'clock, even if I have to dress the children,
Mhm.
how I'm gonna do it and how it's gonna be. Yes, there
Mhm.
is this, and it's despite that I'm doing this now more than 20 years, it's still there.
Mhm. I used to be a firefighter, and
Mm.
I was explaining to somebody that when the sounders go off, the alert, the bells, the printout comes out of what you, so you respond, you get out of bed or you whatever,
Mhm.
get to the fire station or you're at the fire station, and then the tip sheet, which is a printout, tells you domestic or residential property fire, either
Mhm.
people trap, not people trap, whatever, or sometimes AFA, which means
Mhm.
automatic fire alarm.
Okay.
Probably nothing.
Nothing.
You still prepare, you still have a BA set that you
Yeah.
just in case, because there's chances it could be going, but from that noise going off, it's like an anchor, a trigger. You're like ready. The engine goes on, the blue lights start flashing off the back of the wall, the
Mhm.
door goes up. You're it's a 999 emergency. Whereas you're prepared, as in you know what's happening. These are planned, mostly operations, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So the preparation is different, right? You're going in. You show me how you scrub up.
Mhm.
You're prepared. You've had a meeting with the team.
Mhm.
This is a relaxed state of high intense concentration and focus.
Yes. Oh, yeah, theater is a this is why it's a theater, the name coming from.
Mm.
It's a place that you should feel comfortable and nice, and it is, if it's planned and it's, I know what I'm gonna do step by step, even if I think about it before, it is a nice day, yes. And, it what is really great is it's like a dance. Everybody knows the move. We've got a fantastic scrub nurses, fantastic anesthetists, fantastic perfusionists. The people who are in theater, everybody know the drill, and they will. You don't need to say the word. We can do the operation in complete silence.
Mhm.
Uh, and of course they have to be give a comments, but really you can do it in silence, and it will be from the beginning to the end, like this. It's it needs to be because it's a, high, like you said, high concentration, things that we do.
Mm. So you've done that. You've diagnosed it. You've
Mhm.
planned it. You've spoken to the relatives, the patient. You've prepared. You've gone to the hospital. You've scrubbed up. You've
Mhm.
gone into surgery. Whether you're speaking to the team or not, you could do it because it's a dance.
Mm.
How does it feel when they don't survive?
Oh, no. Uh, it's the worst feeling in the world, because it's happened. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible for the family, because the people who are, got their, I will be better, and the family thing will be better, and you don't take in consideration this risk that exists there. Yeah. So the fam, and then for me, surgeon is it's a failure of it's a fight, lost fight. Um, it is awful feeling, and for the team also. This is not that the one person is involved with what we do now these days, and it's routine. We do something called the briefing. So we meet all the people who are involved after a couple days after, and we sit together and we talk, and we, we take us through it again just to find out if there's anything that we could do different way, or better. It is this is the worst one, the one that you the people who you operate on, and risk is not high, and they not survive from one or another reason. And sometimes I do quite a lot of high risk surgery, and majority of people doing very well, but it does happen from time to time. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful feeling. The worst feeling you can imagine.
Yeah. I can relate in some sense that I've been involved in instances where people have lost
Yeah,
their
no,
life. But I was thinking about this when thinking about this question. There's other people there, and I know you have other people in the surgery in the theatre, but I've never been actually the one in the car cutting them out, holding their head
Mm.
when they don't make it. So for you being the one who's not only decided to do this, but you're leading it, you're the one they're looking at.
Mm.
How do you process that when you come home?
You should ask my wife. It's difficult. It's very difficult. People drink. People, I don't know, do the other things. This is like I think it's a. First of all, you need to, I think, to be able to process this and be able to cope with this and go, next day and operate again, is that that you've done everything like it should be to the best of your skills, knowledge, and the situation. You're going there actually to help, and you've done everything right. Then you are able. I think I can somehow cope with it because I know that I've done everything like it should be, like I think it should be. Then, of course, then there's we do the review of the cases, and this is not that, that I just done the operation, but then it's reviewed by the other people, by the medical examiners, and by the of course coroner. They look at every case, especially when there's something like this happen in theater. So you've got this kind of reassurance then that that you've done everything according to the uh, best medicine available. And this is the only thing that I can say that you can cope with this kind of stress. Of course, you've all got the families, and you're trying to somehow distance yourself from this, but it's very difficult.
Mm. I can imagine people are thinking about the police knocking on the door to tell their loved ones that someone's passed away in a
Yeah.
car accident, for example.
Yeah.
But I assume the patient's family sometimes are waiting in a waiting room.
Yeah, no, it's a very difficult conversations, and that's why I think it's very, very important that when we were talking about the diagnostic process and then qualification of the patient, this is not done by the one person. So if we're talking about the high risk cases or even normal cases, we discuss this with our colleagues. So we've got something called multidisciplinary team. We meet in the hospital every Tuesday, every Friday, and we sit together and we discuss every case, and we're finding what will be the best for the patient from all available tests and our knowledge about the case, and these cases are presented and discussed. So when everybody agree that this is the way going forward, then I sit with the family and the patient, and I discuss this with the patient because the patient this is his life, and he has to agree that we will treat him the way that we think is the best. And we also give the options, and we say what happen if we don't do anything. If there's, just stay like you are, and the patient will make a decision based on all of this information. So this process takes a time. This is, in the GMC, this is the call with taking consent. Yeah, but the consent is a process. So this is not that I come to you with a piece of paper and write what I'm gonna do and you sign it. I meet the patient in the outpatient clinic first, pre-op. We discuss all the options. What is the risk? I think patient's got the time to think about it. He's got another option to discuss this. We meet again before surgery. Me or registrar will discuss again all the options. So this takes a time and gives the time to the patient to be able to understand all the risk and benefits. And the people will then can give us consent. Yes, please. I want to feel better. I want to walk up the hill. I want to live longer.
Yeah.
this is, I remember the when I worked in Brompton, for example, there were cases that asymptomatic patients. There was a new technology that developed, and people were operated when they don't have a symptoms. It's much more difficult to explain to them that you are at risk of dying. And we also have cases like this, that is a risk of dying when you feel absolutely fine. But we know that with this aneurysm in your chest, your risk of dying is like 10% a year. So this is you to have to make this decision. Okay, I accept. I want 10 risk of dying, but I don't want operation. When I tell you we do this operation and there's a 1% risk that you will not go through the surgery, then the risk of you dying every year, 10% will disappear. And this is your decision. Then our decision together, because we do it together as a team. Patient is a part of the team.
Mhm. Tell me about some of the worst reactions you've had from family members.
This is really, I didn't, the people are suffering. And I wouldn't say that I was ever like, I would say that this is the worst reaction I had. People cry, people are sad, and everybody react to this kind of pain different.
Mm.
So, I
Anybody ever been upset with you?
to be honest with you, I wouldn't say that they are upset. They are upset, but they are not upset with the people. And this is again an important thing, that you have this relationship before.
Mm.
So everybody who is there is involved and understand that this is the thing. Of course, it's always shock. Even if we now discuss this and I tell you, the risk is very small, you don't take it, but it exists. It exists.
Mm. We spoke before about mentors, and when you were first coming up training, you had a mentor to go to who was your
Yeah.
person. And then when you became the chief, the top guy,
Well, okay. We are all consultants. We are all equal. This is not a continental pyramid system. We are all colleagues. But I'm senior. Yes, I work probably the longest from all my colleagues. Yes.
the point I think when we spoke about it before, you said that you had a mentor, you had someone to guide you,
Mhm.
but then when you were the top one in your department, in your area, who did you go to? And I asked you who you went to, and you said, there isn't really anyone else that's above me now.
Well, so yes. So for this kind of like face-to-face question, I wouldn't go. But they are my colleagues. I can always ask every one of us got some experience. Even if somebody is junior to me, I can still learn from them. Then there's, of course, we've got this multidisciplinary team meeting. So there are people with more senior to me as a cardiologist or, vascular surgeon. So if I've got a problem like this, I will discuss with them. And then finally, the cardiac surgery in UK is really very nicely managed and governed by the society. So if we've got the cases that they are really not, that we could not do safely in Nottingham, we can send them there.
Mhm.
And there are big centers that they specialize in something specific. So for example, children, we don't do in Nottingham pediatric cardiac surgery. Any patient who has a pediatric patient or child who has a problem with the heart will go or to Leicester or to the centers like Birmingham or London or Oxford, Cambridge. So not Oxford, yeah, but Cambridge. They are dedicated surgeons who specialize in children or pediatric cardiac surgery, and they will deal with them. The same like young people who are not children, more than 18 years old, but who had a pediatric surgery. So they had a typical congenital cardiac surgery problems in the past. We will not operate on them. We will send them to the people who specialize in congenital surgery. Transplant, people on the end of the heart failure that they need a transplant. This is not done in Nottingham. We will send them to Papworth or to Newcastle or to Birmingham. So no, I don't have in my unit somebody that I can go and say, "Oh, what would you do?" More senior than me, but I've got colleagues that, "What would you do?" We've got places that I can really ask for help and advice.
We spoke about like a CEO in a company when I came to the hospital, and I said, being a number one, you're the only person. There's no one else behind you. and it can be quite lonely as an entrepreneur, which I'm not comparing my entrepreneur life to your serious life and death surgery. But we said that experience, you'd think that things would be easier or you'd be more used to dealing with some of the more difficult situations that maybe if people have lost their life. But you said there's like a pot of
Oh yeah, yeah,
emotions.
yeah. This is my colleague he was fantastic surgeon. He actually was one who created the unit in Nottingham, Mr. Richards. He's retired a long time ago, and he told me this, that there is this kind of, this all emotions, like we talk about the, difficult cases and the people not going through the operation or dying after surgery. They accumulate in you, and it's more difficult with the time. And I agree with him. It is on the beginning you are. Uh, and they also, affect you, but not as much as now.
You said I should ask your wife.
Oh yes, no, how I react. So she will tell you that I'm, coming home and I'm sitting and thinking, oh, this is the answer. So instead of my son coming to me saying, "Daddy, let's do this," I'm sitting, and then it takes me a while to react to him, and yeah. So this is what I mean.
Mm. So talk about being lonely, whether that's the pot that's accumulating, as you say, the trauma, the grief. What do you do with that? You still have to go home and look after the kids. You have your team, you have other colleagues, but what do you do with that?
Obviously, it's not there yet that I need to look for the like some kind of anything more than what I do. But holiday, spending time with my boys, playing badminton with Anthony, doing tennis with Jacob, swimming with Eddie. This really puts your brain somewhere because you don't have a time to think about anything else.
Mm.
Going on holiday, organizing a holiday. So there are this, reading the books, playing piano. This is what makes me feel better and somehow move from it. And of course, every this is this is not happening very often. So you've got the time to process the thing, and with the time you somehow find why it's. Well, sometimes you don't have an answer why it's happened, but you more like with every grief, you getting maybe not over it, but you just finding the way that you understand and you are
Mm.
ready, to move on to some extent. But of course, this is how it is. This is how I deal with this.
Mm. I was thinking about elite performers, football players.
Mm.
Obviously, I'm not comparing again your line of work to football, but they
No,
get
no, no, but they earn much more.
a lot more. But they have to do it every time. That's why they're so good, right? They
Yeah.
do it every time. The ones that are better and get paid more and play for the best teams, they do it every time. But you have to do it every time, every time.
Yeah.
So getting yourself prepared, dealing with it all the time, and then also you sound like you've got outlets, you've got coping mechanisms, you've got ways that you deal with things. But for me, the pressure, like I even felt pressure being in the theatre, thinking about how I would deal with that. How would I get ready for that? How would I do that? And it sounds like you've got.
Yeah, and you were in empty theater.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh, you know, so I don't know. It is just, so maybe it is like this, that we all, you you're choosing medicine because there must be something in you that you like this kind of job. You want to help people, and you feel that the sacrifice that you're doing is worth this. And then there is in cardiac surgery, you know from the beginning how it is because you see your colleagues, senior colleagues who are consultant, and you see how the things works, and if you need to like it, and this is how you're doing this.
Mm.
I don't know. You have to have a specific type of psychological, I don't know, skills,
Mm.
and be able to deal with this. I don't know really the answer.
I asked you what doctor you think I would be after I came up and did the
Yeah,
the
yeah. I think you will be a surgeon. Yeah, yeah.
and what's that criteria? You said
No, but
certain type of personality. You said it's not all about the skills of.
yeah, well, the skills are important. You if you cannot stitch the button to your shirt, you probably shouldn't think about the surgery. Yeah? So the manual skills are important. And actually, when you're applying for the surgical job now through the national selection, there are some stations that you have to show some very basic but surgical skills, and you are assessed on it. And and then of course, you know, your approach to the people, how you treat the people, how you work together, all of this coming
Mm.
together. And you have to be strong. I don't have a doubt that psychologically you have to be resilient. You have to have a knowledge. You have to have a skills that you know that you're doing right thing, and you have to be resilient.
Mm. And then how do you transfer that? Now you're a leader, you're not just a surgeon, now you lead the team. How does that transfer into your leadership style, bringing and developing the people?
Well, so I'm here now in Nottingham, like I said, many many years, and when my senior colleagues all retired and I become, like the most senior one, we had to rebuild the unit, rebuild the surgeons, employ the surgeons who will lead this, and I must say that I didn't. It's one of the successes I have is that we've got now fantastic team. But I didn't do it by shouting or forcing people to do, but actually to creating the environment that people can develop, people can uh, follow their dreams. Like I want to be a mitral surgeon, so we create everything for them to actually develop and do it, and they want to stay and they want to do it. So I think this was my skills as a leader and listening to them and not trying to be. Say not trying to force them on what I think it should be, but actually what is the best for the patient,
Mhm.
you know. And we need specific services who will be delivered to the Nottingham. The people here can be safe, good operations, good results, and they can benefit from it because this is actually what they pay for in the taxes.
Mhm.
So this is what we need to do. And I always concentrate on this. That this is what we need to do. This is what we need to deliver. And team is now fantastic. And I I could retire knowing that the Nottingham will be safe and great future.
You explained to me the panel process that you
Yes.
put the
Yeah.
interview out and how the paneling works. Tell me that if people are listening to, you talk about medical school, then 6, 7 years of more training,
Yeah.
and then this panel process. Tell me how this selection process works. If someone's sitting there thinking, I want to become a surgeon, or their son or daughter.
Mm. I mean, this is long way to be shortlisted for the interview as a consultant because of course you have to finish medicine and do your get your NTN number, so training number, then pass the exam, which is the thing. But I think that in this whole process, this narrow part of the thing is the selection for the consultant job. So this is very now unified, and the process is very open, and you're just collecting whatever is possible in your portfolio to be attractive. And usually there's an advert which saying that the hospital needs surgeon with the specific skills. And if you're actually lucky to have them, you can apply. And you're just doing this through the open process, it's going to the panel of the people who are chosen from the hospital. And also there is a representative from the Royal College of Surgeons. So there's outside people who coming and supervise the process, and also they shortlisting, and the best candidate who's got the most points will be going for the interview. And the interview is panel of, I think, 7 to 10 people representing every type of managerial level and the surgical level. And it's a long day, sometimes even in 2 days. There's a part which is presentation, and depends on the hospital. Every hospital have got the policy, but we have a presentation first, and then followed by the interview couple of hours. So, and then there's a discussion, and the points are given. The person who won is offered the job,
Mhm.
and the jobs are very standard. So there's no something that you will say, oh, you are such a great person who will give you more money or less money. Everything is in the brackets.
Mhm.
So this person exactly knows what he expects for the NHS consultant job, and what is expected from them, and if they accept the job, they can start and do it.
Mm. Would you go back and do it all again if you had to go back? Hi, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Two things. These conversations are sometimes quite long, so we split them into two parts. To get access to part 2, plus all the behind the scenes and never before seen footage and exclusive material before anybody else, hit the subscribe button now and download your free VIP studio pass into your mobile wallet. To do that, go to theheartofitpodcast.com/pass. Second thing, as you can see, I'm in a purpose-built studio. I'm a coach and I'm recording a podcast to grow our audience, reach new people, all whilst building trust and authority in our niche. This studio is owned by a 7-figure coach, a company that I'm partnered with who help other coaches to grow and scale their coaching businesses online. If you're a coach, author, speaker, or expert in your field, and you'd like to see how the performance of this podcast translates into business revenue, as well as how much we make from the YouTube monetization and podcast sponsorship deals, just like this one, download the Podcast to Profit Guide, which you can do at theheartofitpodcast.com/podcast profit. Now, back to the episode. Would you go back and do it all again if you had to go back?
I really like my job. I really like my job. It is fantastic medicine. So if I would choose the medicine, I would definitely like to do it again because it's everything. It's a surgery, it's a intensive care, it's just basic medicine and advanced medicine. And I think if I have to do it again as a medic, I would choose this one. But if I didn't, I would like to be a musician.
Musician. You play piano?
Yeah, I do. I come from I'm the first doctor in my family. Everybody else was a musician. So this is what, unfortunately, I don't have a talent. So they gave up on me very early and they said, do something else. So I choose the medicine.
So we talked a lot about your career, a lot. What you said about the kids, swimming, badminton, etc., holidays. What other things do you do that's just you? If you were to remove you as the doctor, what would you describe yourself as?
That's the medicine taking a lot of your life. There's not a lot of left. But I like to travel. I really do. And I'm not talking about some kind of extreme travels far. I like really take a car and drive through Europe, or in UK, my wife is Welsh. Go to Wales. It's just such a fantastic place. And big district. Take a tent and go with boys and sleep in the tent with them there. Brilliant. This is just amazing. I cannot wait when the May will come and the temperatures get better. So we will pack it and take them there for weekend and just walk in the big district and then find some place that we can camping and put a tent and have a sausages on. This is brilliant. So I like this. I like reading the books. I read a lot, and you've seen me a couple of times sitting and with my book every time boys in the soft play and I'm sitting there. And do a little bit of sport. I love skiing. Skiing is my favorite. So we're going in February for a little bit tour with my oldest son, skiing, and then with boys we travel, and I love it. This is the best.
That's the first time we met in the sauna, David Lloyd, West Bridgeford. I was talking with another friend of mine about my book that I've written.
Yes, that's true.
You were overhearing and you were intrigued.
Yeah. No. I because you were saying this, and I did some small stuff in writing something, and I know how painful it is. So I was really interested in your view. When you finish because for me it was always this. You finish something, the writing, and then you have to go through this again and go through this again. Mm-hmm. And every time you're going through, you're finding some small. This is different. So I was interested in this process, how you're going through this and how you're coping with this.
It's a lot, because especially mine, the way it is that the first half is about my life up to this point, and then the second half is the lessons and the quotes and the ethos, and then the stories in that each chapter brings each point to life. Mm-hmm. Some of the questions I've asked people on here come from those quotes. Mm-hmm. One of the things I say is choose courage over comfort, which is something you do every day.
Yeah, no, well, yes, yeah, that we all should do this, but the comfort is very nice, huh?
It is. And another question I ask people is, who do you want to be when nobody's looking?
Nobody's looking. Who do I want to be? I would like to be a rock star, yeah. Everybody wants to be something else, a space. I don't know. When I was 7, I wanted to be a fireman. I remember this. This was my cousin was asking me. I was actually going next day to the first class, in ordinary school, and or after reception, and she asked me, "Who you want to be?" I remember this feeling that I wanted to be a fireman. I said to her, "I want to be a fireman," and she said, "This will change." And I remember I was so upset with her that she said this. It's completely irrelevant to your question, but
That's exactly
no,
the same as me. I had a fire engine come to my 4th birthday. My
mm,
dad arranged it, and they drove me and my friends up and down the street. And I was
mhm,
4, and I was like, I wanted to be a fireman ever since that. I went to
no.
fire station
Oh,
open
you
days.
stay with it. I didn't. I thought that this is too physical. Like you look like a fireman. I look like I don't. So I need to choose something less physical. But I don't know the answer to this question. When I'm alone, I like to listen to music, and I don't think who I would like to be in this moment.
Mm. Another question I ask people, I've had some really interesting answers to this, is do you think people are doing the best they can?
Uh yeah. Well, I don't know. Probably yes. Probably yes. Because if they could better, they would do better. Uh, I mean, depends how much of the courage you choose over the comfort,
Mm.
and sometimes comfort is so comfortable that you don't want to do anything more. I don't know really the answer. I think that every one of us got their own life, and they have to look at themselves in the mirror and say, well, I've done good job or I done the bad job. This
Mm.
is what I would say.
So what's next for you? You've just stepped into a new role.
Yeah, so this new role will be really interesting. It's a little more, actually, this is more. It's not managing the people; it's leading the people. So I'm looking forward for this. See how the things are. Um, I'm finishing being the director for training people soon. So this will be nice to see what's will develop there. Maybe holidays, yeah, and my oldest son is going to university. This is something that I'm a bit scared, but also very excited to see.
What's he doing at uni?
He wants to do the finance. He doesn't want to do the medicine, but it's. I think it's. He's seen me not being home and on calls and this, so he wants to do something different, which is fine. It's good.
Did you do private work as well?
I do a little bit, yes.
So how does that work, being on call, private work? How does this
Yeah,
work?
well, you need to make yourself available, and it is very difficult when you have to make yourself available, and you're doing this in your private time. So yeah, I do it.
Mm. So thinking about people listening to this have heard you talk about surgery,
Hmm.
preparing, and all the things you do to relax and get out of that. Would you recommend somebody become a surgeon?
Yeah, but they will know if they want to do it or not. If you first of all, if you're doing this for money, don't. This is not a job that you will, because this is not the money you will have for the stress that you got. But if you want to help people, and the surgery in the whole medicine is the one that you see your results straight away. Because if you make mistake is seen straight away.
Mhm.
So this is the one that really you have to learn, you have to practice, you have to be good in this, and you know that you are. So you've got the instant feedback
Mhm.
of what you do. So this is, if you feel that this is what you need in life and this is what you want to do in life, yeah, surgery is good. But you will know this.
Mm. When we first started talking, we had quite a few conversations, and I left our conversations moved. Lots of people talk a lot,
Mm.
not just in the sauna, but in life in general.
Yes.
But every day you prove it with what you do and how humble you are and the things you talk about, how you even talk today. I left those conversations moved that you're every day stepping up to do life changing things. And not many people are doing that. And I really respect and appreciate what you do and how you're
Thank
doing it.
you. Thank you for saying this. I it is. Thank you. Now, you know, it is true what we do, but every one of us, every single person who do the job, any kind of job, doing this somehow, and you can extrapolate it to the thing. Remember, with my job, like with every surgery, is that the results are very clearly seen m- immediately.
Mm.
So this is such a view from other people who do the great job and change the people's lives as well, but they don't see this immediately. If you employ 1,500 people and your company is good, you change the life of 1,500 people for good.
Mm.
Yeah. So maybe this is where this perception of the surgeons doing this it's different. And another thing is that we help the people who are in need and they suffer. So we change their life and the family life. And this is also this thing which is amazing.
Mm.
And this is again the perception of other people. What we do, it's because it is. But you have to look at this also, like I said. If you've got a proper company and you are a good boss, good CEO, and the people prosper and they've got their families and they've got what to put on the turkey on the on the table during the Christmas. This is also important.
What lessons do you think I could learn, or someone listening to this could learn from what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, so everybody should learn that the cardiac surgery, if somebody will tell you need a cardiac surgery, don't be afraid, because the results are great. We talk here, this, I understand that we need to talk about it, but the risk is really small. And if you feel unwell, we will help you and you will be better and you will feel like you felt long time that you don't even remember.
Mm.
Because when your heart is fixed, the rest of the body will work perfectly.
Mm. I remember when I asked you what you wanted to take from doing this. You said we wanted people
Yes,
to watch.
yes.
And
I did this. I don't know if we talk about it. Yeah, we did. I did this program for BBC, and we had a fantastic feedback after from the patients, because they said, "Oh, actually, we've seen it on TV. We heard it on the radio. This is really. I was worried, and now I don't." And this is what I think is important for the people to know that if somebody will say cardiac surgery, don't be afraid. It's easy.
I think people have trust in how you talk, how relaxed you are with it all, but how much you care about the people that you're working with and the people you're helping.
I do, and yes, yeah, yes, it is, because this is what my job is, to help people. Yeah, and I want them all to feel great after this, and they coming to us.
What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be in your new role?
Money, because there's no money, and unfortunately, this is the problem. Every trust in the country and all NHS is suffering. That the COVID had such a big impact on the medicine, that there's no money for anything really. Well, we've got the money to treat the people, but for example, to develop new technology, to develop new services, it will have an impact.
Mm.
So, and NHS is really, I think, if you look at the NHS, it's the most efficient health care system in the world. The way how we, and also safe, and also properly monitored, uh, properly audited. So it's really wonderful. What this is somebody said that this is the best gift from society to society, and it really is. Because if you are ill in UK, you just go to the GP. Of course, people complain, I have to wait, I have to do this, but everything is done the best that what the medical knowledge is. Well, of course, there will be some challenges with this, and the big challenge is money.
Mm. It must be difficult to see what could be done and be trapped or stuck or limited. Because you went to a seminar abroad, and when I asked you what the different techniques are from the
Yeah,
UK.
yes. Yeah. So, but you have to remember that, for example, not from this year, but all the 10 years, 11 years before, you could Google my name, go on the website, and see exactly results of my surgery,
Mhm.
with every detail of what I do. And we were the only country in the world that this was by name, the results of the surgeon published.
Mhm.
But people on the beginning, all surgeons were very upset, and they said, why my results will be published? But actually, what happened through the 10 years, there was no more people who were performing badly. All the people who were performing badly were somehow gone. Or people adopt. They realize that actually, if I do this kind of very high risk surgery one more time, I will be suspended. So this lesson was learned, and we all now are careful. We look at the patient with a multidisciplinary team, not just the surgeon coming, oh, I can do it. I'm good enough to do it. This is not something like this, which doesn't exist anywhere in the world. So when you're going on the symposia in the Europe, you see these people doing really sometimes crazy stuff that I wouldn't be scared to even think about it. But they're doing this because they don't have such an auditing. They don't have such a monitor who will come and look at the results and say, listen, man, just think about twice what you're doing, because,
Is that from the choice of doing these surgeries? Because you do a lot of high-risk surgery.
Yeah.
So is it from what's the difference between a surgeon who has a high success rate and unfortunately a not high success rate? What are the factors that come into it? Is it the choice of the ones to operate on, or is there many things?
Choice and the team that you work with. The team is a key. So I know that when I finish operation and my patient is going on intensive care, it will be looked by the superb people. And the nurses are amazing. And the anesthetist, everybody there who is there on the ITU, I can trust them, and I would trust them with. If I have a surgery, I will be very happy to lay them, because I know that everything will be looked after. So this is where there is a difference. And every changes to the team, new people, they need to be training, monitored properly, and all of this needs to be sorted. So and also you have to look at the skills of the people. So to choosing some operations that they are beyond our skills, it will be terrible. So the choice and the team.
And then you mentioned that the theatre is like a theatre, it's like a dance, it's like music.
Yeah.
And you said how important the team is to afterwards. What things can impact that afterwards?
What do you mean by this?
So it's been a surgery.
Yeah.
It's gone well from your side. And then the recovery phase, they're on, intensive care for 6 months. You said, around that kind of time. What kind of things could be spotted, seen? Is it from a bedside manner or from risks that come up after surgery?
It's a combination of, this is very multifactorial. So from the beginning what you could expect, what could go wrong. If somebody, for example, let's say this simple example, if the patient got pre-existing problem with the kidney, you expect something can go wrong after surgery, could be kidney. So we monitor kidney, and if they are going in the wrong direction, we'll help them. So this is what you think. So this is pre-op, and what's happening in theater. If the heart was looking good or was tired, or what's kind of support he needs to have. So what kind of medication, what kind of machines do you have to use to support it? And then, of course, on intensive care, we monitor patient carefully every aspect. And if somebody develop infection, we will know this before even he has a temperature, because we monitor blood and all the parameters are there. So you just actively treating any possible problem before the problem become a problem.
Interesting. I think the people who listen to this will I think they will feel comforted if they were to have cardiac surgery.
Like I said, well, it's last year our government said that because we earned the trust by 11 years being monitored like this, they stop monitor us by name, but they putting the results of the hospital now, the whole hospital. So anybody who will have a cardiac surgery can look there and see what is there. And of course, if they have the operation, they will meet us and we can have a chat and explain everything and give them confidence. And like I said, it's safe.
I think a lot of people criticize the NHS, certainly in the UK, but I think they're hearing how you approach this, not just you, but the team, and the way that you've built that I feel confident listening to how you talk about this, as well as the people, as in they are just people. You are a person. And when I see you at the gym, you've been doing this all day and you're dealing with all those things. And it gave me a new sense of perspective when I was in the hospital looking at the nurses, and I thought about COVID. I didn't go to hospital during COVID. I just had a real, like I said earlier on, a sense of this is real. This is real life that you are looking after people who are in need and doing a great job.
Well, thank you. It is real when you are there, and I was a patient too. Then it becomes real, And yes, and as a patient, you need this confidence to know that.
Because you've had a heart attack, haven't you?
Yeah, I did.
How
Yeah.
did that? That's when I heard that, I was like, "You've had a heart attack, and you're a heart surgeon. How did this happen?"
There's this old Polish saying that the shoemaker walking with the bare feet. So this is exactly what it is. No, I had a clot in one of my coronaries, and I had a heart attack, and I was looked after by my colleagues, cardiologists, who were amazing, and they treat me fantastically. I'm, on the medication, and I've got a follow up, and I feel great. But I also understand, if patient is coming to me and saying I had a chest pain, I know how it is, and
Did you know that you had chest pain, or was it come on fast?
I did, but as everybody, I was just saying to me, it must be indigestion, yeah. But the pain is horrendous. I mean, I didn't have a big heart attack, so my pain was really, compared to other people, probably very mild. But it's the awful feeling. It's an awful feeling. So I understand, and I know why people coming and say, yes, I want a cardiac surgery, or I want stents these days.
So you had what did you have happen? A block?
No, I had a clot in one of my coronaries. So the coronaries is these little vessels when they blocked, you have a heart attack. So I had one very tiny one blocked, and it was like, this uneasy feeling, but it was a very unpleasant feeling, very unpleasant.
And they used medication, or do you?
Yeah, I'm just taking medication, fortunately. So it didn't finish for me any kind of procedure.
So when we looked at the scans and we looked at the valves you put in and the stents, which is the sort of rubbery part, you use that to work around certain blockages, or?
Yes.
You didn't have any of this?
No. I didn't have any procedure. The tablets were good enough. But I know what it is.
Was that scary?
No.
What having a heart attack was not scary?
No. I mean, it was to some extent with the knowing that young children, all of this, my wife pregnant, and it was a little bit scary this way, but worrying about other people. But myself, somehow I wasn't scared about myself, because I don't know, maybe I just was able to put it somewhere on the side.
Do you think that's because you have the experience you do? I think if I had chest pain right now, apart from you're a doctor, which would help right now, I would be shitting myself if I dropped onto the floor with pain down my arm.
Yeah, well, the one thing I knew, it's not a big one. Yeah, I was more scary when I really have to go to the diagnostic process. When they do the angiogram on me and look at my vessels. This was scary. But in the moment that they told me this, actually, it was relief that I know what it is, and that this is also quite important for the message maybe from this podcast today, that if you've got go to your GP, go to your doctor, because don't try to think too long, because it's not worth. When we can deal with this. If you don't know, you just thinking about it, and you're thinking it's gonna be all right or not, what's going on with me. But if you go, and it's easy to check, it's a blood test, and you know that there's a problem with your heart.
Did you sauna a lot before your heart attack?
Yeah.
So that's not, because I know there's lots of research that says sauna.
Yeah, but the rest of my heart is okay. So it's just the one bit didn't like sauna. No, but it's no. It's I like swim, and I like to go to sauna.
Yeah.
And the life is life. You have to. So this is one of the reasons that we do the operations. People just think, can I after this? Can I eat? Can I do? Yes, you can, because we do this operation for you to bring you to the full of life. Not that you just preserve where we are now. But if you've got a chest pain or shortness of breath, you feel really, you just really feel terrible, and you don't have this view on the things, what's going to happen later. So the operations, when we do, we bring you back to the normal life, and you should eat, you should drink, you should go to and do sports and enjoy the life.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Hi. Two things, these conversations are sometimes quite long, so we split them into 2 parts. To get access to part 2, plus all the behind the scenes and never before seen footage and exclusive material before anybody else, hit the subscribe button now and download your free VIP studio pass into your mobile wallet. To do that, go to theheartofitpodcast.com/pass. Second thing, as you can see, I'm in a purpose-built studio. I'm a coach and I'm recording a podcast to grow our audience, reach new people, all whilst building trust and authority in our niche. This studio is owned by a 7-figure coach, a company that I'm partnered with who help other coaches to grow and scale their coaching businesses online. If you're a coach, author, speaker, or expert in your field, and you'd like to see how the performance of this podcast translates into business revenue, as well as how much we make from the YouTube monetization and podcast sponsorship deals, just like this one, download the Podcast to Profit Guide, which you can do at theheartofitpodcast.com/podcast profit.